I grew up in a little country town up in northeastern Victoria called Bright. I was pretty lucky, even though girls hadn't played in the actual junior competition. My dad wasn't going to take that for a reason as to why I shouldn't, and he kind of lobbied the league and worked out a way for me to play. But always had this sense that there'd be an age where I'd have to stop playing, and that was just the end of the road, while I saw my teammates and my good mates at the time just aspiring to go on and play AFL footy like our idols did on the TV. I think that's the big strength of this club in particular, is that we're trying to create opportunities for women of all ages.
So the Darebin Women's Sports Club, or the Darebin Falcons as we're known, is a multi-sport club in Victoria. We offer football, soccer, cricket and 8-ball, which are traditionally male-dominated sports, to women and girls. We have the second largest soccer program in Victoria, and we're well known for our successful Australian rules football program. We started as one little football team in 1990.
There were limited opportunities for women to play football back in the early 90s, and we all loved football and just thought, no, we need to give this a crack. Most of the women who played in the first year had never played football before.
Favourite sport was always footy. I fell in love with that at a pretty young age and just seemed natural to go down and play. It probably took me a little while to work out it wasn't that natural at the time because there weren't any other girls down there, but I just became really determined to be the best player that I could.
That first year at the Fairfield Falcons, we didn't have our own change rooms, we shared the rooms. Our games were always scheduled at the worst possible times. We were given jumpers to wear on the Sunday that the men had worn on the Saturday.
Our experience for a long time was just taking the scraps of what was left after all the boys' teams had been looked after.
We were always hearing that women and girls couldn't play football and we'd never be able to play in any real strong competition.
So at the time, from Darebin Council, we had about 50 sporting pavilions from memory, and all of them had been built in around the 50s and 60s, which was all around male sport. We had a sports policy which really encouraged women's sport, and as part of the policy it was to actually try and find a home for women's only sporting clubs, which hadn't been done before. So what this brought about was an opportunity for council to actually be a leader and to provide a space for women's sport, which would mean different change in facilities, a different social setting in the club, so that the club could flourish and foster. We received quite a hostile response from the male-dominated sporting clubs in the community. Women were actually going to have a new pavilion built for them that had been budgeted for. This was happening in the early 2000s, so if people remember, this is pre any Royal Commission into family violence. This is pre any language around gender equity as part of the public discourse. It would have been very easy for the council to buckle and say, no, we're not going to do this, but they didn't. They held the line and they continued to prosecute a case that women's sport deserves a place in our community.
The council have supported us in giving us this ground here, helping us build our lights, supporting us with having a women's only facility so we could have the space to just provide these opportunities to women and girls so they actually get their time on the park to practice, because how are you going to do well if you don't have the time just to practice?
To have access to our own club and grounds has been a really positive thing for our group and our club. We have the opportunity to create a space that is purely for women and made by women. So I guess there's a greater understanding of what people want and need.
Everything that we do has girls at the heart. So what we try and put in place is some really low barriers to entry. And what we see here is we get a lot of girls who come along who wouldn't necessarily try soccer or even sport, but can see that this is a girls-only program and they feel confident to give it a go.
Evie, you take a spell. Cracking first half from you. Really well done.
All right. We had 10 girls at our first come and try day, and then 30 by the end of the first season, 60 the year after, and then it just totally exploded. And now in 2018, we've got 380 girls playing soccer.
We want women and girls to feel included, we want them to feel pushed, but we want them to feel respected and supported to do that. We are well known for our football program, people would know of a lot of our players and coaches who've gone on to be quite successful in AFLW. We've played in every grand final from 2005 until 2017 and won 10 of those. The competition's completely unrecognisable from the 2005 comp, but we've managed to maintain a really high standard. Once AFLW came around, again, we had a really strong number of girls participating, and every time I see Daisy or Darcy's face on a billboard, I'm very proud of that they've come here and they've been able to grow, feel comfortable, feel confident as women in that space.
I look back at that decision to come here instead of some of the other clubs I could have gone to, and just think it's shaped me as a person and my football career and the work that I've done in the industry. I pin it right back to that decision, because this club creates an environment where it's okay to be yourself and to celebrate and encourage everyone's differences.
We want to be the best that we can in all aspects, so not just footy.
We're proud of who we are. We're bound by our love of the sport, and therefore, even though we're quite different, we have that binds us.
I think that's the big strength of this club in particular, is that it has been unique in that sense, where women run the club and are front and centre in that.
One of the things that I saw when I was a player at Falcons was that women were present across the whole organisation in every role, and I could see what I could be, and it gave me a tremendous view of what was possible.
Me and my mum both play in left back position. Also, I'm number 7, which is the exact same number as my mum. It makes me really proud to have the same number playing for the same club.
Crazy to think now that, all these young girls are looking up to us, and girls older than them. They've got role models everywhere that are visible.
What's just been so wonderful in the last 18 months is to see little girls running around with Darcy Vessio's number on their back. They've got people to look up to, and that's the power of sport, that women and girls are seeing other women and girls getting out there and having fun playing football.
We've provided girls with opportunities to really excel. Other people have started to take notice. In terms of our top VFLW program, we are now the only independent women's team left in that competition. Feeling around that I get from those big clubs that are like, you've done well, girls, but we'll take it from here. We provide a really high quality program, and I think we're really distinct in how we do that.
One of the big things for creating gender equity in sport is just making female athletes visible for the right reasons.
Sport has a tremendous influence on everything we do in the Australian community, and that's why it's so important that gender equality is visible.
It's taken a lot of hard work, tenacity, resilience, creativity, belief in ourselves to get where we are today, to be a really strong club that people call their home.
I think most important things is making sure that your female teams and female athletes are being given the same opportunities, not seeing women's teams as, the second class of the club.
What sport does is make a really powerful statement to women and girls and to the rest of the community that gender equality is powerful and it's necessary. And over time, that will lead to a community where women are respected more, and the end goal is that there's less violence against women.
I don't think that our job is done yet, and I think that we are really still needed. I want to win because I want to be better, I want to be smarter, I want to be more strategic, I want to be stronger, I want to be fitter. I don't want to win because I've stood on the shoulders of someone else in order to do that.